What is up, everybody? It is Lawrence again. Today we have an Adidas original shoe that is classic but not so classic at the same time. So what Adidas has done is they've introduced the Supercourt. And this has come out for a while. I don't remember exactly what the drop date was, but this is a shoe that's kind of been on shelves for a while. Actually, if you check Adidas site today, these were a newer release with the world famous logo that you can see over there. But without the world famous logo, these are actually 50% off, and I think you can cop a pair for $45, which is a huge and amazing deal. There's also 18 different colorways, so if you find, you'll find something that you like. So the one we'll be reviewing today is a relatively new release. There was a line of these that basically is the world famous for quality line, and they released in kind of this white plus blue aesthetic that you can see over here with that world famous logo, the Adidas in the back, and also the tongue area. So without further ado, the Supercourt is a shoe that is basically designed over 40 years of having tennis-based experience for Adidas, and this is the lifestyle version of a classic tennis sneaker done with a modern aesthetic. So let's start with upper like we always do. The leather is supposed to be made out of relatively nicer leather than your typical Adidas shoe. I would say that this is definitely just a notch up over your typical Stan Smith or Continental 80, if it's any different at all, to be honest. It's relatively stiff in the back, much more supple in the front, so you take with that what you will. I would say it's not a really premium shoe, but it feels pretty good, and at the same time, it is a $90 price point, so you're not going to expect a crazily great quality leather out of it. What I do like about it are the overlays of different cuts of leather. So at the very toe, you have the first cut of leather, which goes all around the toe box over there. Then you have another piece that extends right above it over there, and it kind of goes into the front of the shoe. And then you have a kind of scooped out toe box over here with the third one, which is the underlayer of the leather. Then you have two pieces of leather that run through the top of the shoe. That is where the eyelets are. And you have exposed stitching all throughout the shoe. This is done in a white. I think it'd be really interesting if they actually added some type of colored contrast on the stitching. Obviously that would make the shoe less clean, but I think it would give it a very interesting aesthetic. Then moving over to the both lateral and medial sides of the panels, you also have the 3 stripes branding done in a perforated circle all throughout the shoe. This is very similar to the Stan Smith. Then you have another piece of leather that's an overlay over here. And then towards the heel, you also have another piece of leather that's an overlay done in the same white. And of course you have that world famous logo that's over there, which I really do like a lot. It's relatively subtle. You can't really see what it is from afar, but you have to get pretty close to it to see that it says world famous by Adidas. Moving to the top of the tongue, you have the Adidas logo at the very top, and then you actually have a size tag that is stitched onto the shoe that you can see beneath. And then finally, on the back of the shoe, you have your Adidas done in a blue. Inner sock liner is made out of leather. It's actually pretty rough. I don't really like it too much. When I actually had it on, it was rubbing against my ankle. I didn't love that. Usually with leathers, that typically softens up, but you know, with lower quality leather, it takes a little more time than you probably want, and it does hurt, so probably wear longer socks. Finally, flipping into the outsole, you have a pretty aggressive traction pattern that's on the bottom, but for the most part, relatively grippy shoe, which is obviously necessary for tennis. No modern tennis players ever going to wear this shoe on the court, but it's obviously inspired by tennis in general. So what are my thoughts about the shoe? The Supercourt is a super interesting shoe. I do like it a lot more than your typical Stan Smith or your Continental 80. I just feel like it has a better aesthetic with the overlays of leather. I would like to see Adidas be a little more playful, but I completely understand how they got to a relatively plain white leather shoe that looks pretty good. So I think from a design perspective, I don't think there's anything to hate here. If you want a white leather shoe that's relatively clean but is a little bit different than a Stan Smith or a Continental 80 or a Superstar from Adidas, I'd say this is a really great option. When it comes down to comfort, I would say there's nothing that stands out about the shoe. With that said, I do think that the leather is pretty supple in the toe box area and towards the midfoot. It's a little bit hard in the back. Hopefully that changes over time when we have some more time with it. But for the most part, I'd say that the comfort's pretty decent for this type of shoe. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. I actually do like how wide it is, so it does kind of flare out in the middle over there towards the toe box, and so that helps with any wide footers that may or may not find some Adidas shoes too tight. And then finally, the sizing. The sizing, I went true to size, and I would say that for most people with more narrow feet, you probably want to go to half size down. These do run a little bit long, but for me, it was just enough. I don't think I would want to go half a size down because I have a bit of a wider foot, and so that was good for me. But I would say that you, if you can, just try these on before actually purchasing a pair. And that's it, guys. If you have any questions about the Adidas Supercourt, let me know in the comments below. If you like the channel, obviously hit the subscribe button, give me a thumbs up, and until next time, peace.